Good afternoon, folks. This is Deb. Now, this is a critically important video, and I'm encouraging everybody to pay attention to this video. I'm encouraging everybody to share this video. So there's something going on here that we need to talk about. We have two former Republican representatives joining the Democratic Party. One of those gentlemen is David Jolly, who has announced that he will run as a candidate for the governor of Florida as a Democrat. The other one is Joe Walsh, who was a former Tea Party Republican who has decided to get off the sidelines as an independent and join the Democratic Party. And there's a potential for him to run as a representative again. So let's talk about this, because on the face of it, this seems like a great thing. And I agree on the face of it. What I am very, very, very concerned about, and everybody in this country should be concerned about this, is that these Republicans know the danger of Donald Trump, and that's a great thing. But they're also trying to find a foothold in politics again by co-opting the Democratic Party. That's just the way I feel. Starting another Republican Party will be a difficult and long process. Okay, look, there are no viable third parties, okay? I don't care. If another third party comes around, like the No Names Party, and they take a centrist viewpoint, that's not a winning party. It didn't go anywhere for 2024, okay? What we really, really, really need to guard against is the Democratic Party becoming GOP light. We need to move the Democratic Party into a more progressive state, okay? So you folks understand the danger of Donald Trump, David Jolly and Joe Walsh. You understand the danger of Donald Trump to democracy? I agree with you. I have immense amounts of respect for Liz Cheney and for Adam Kinzinger. I don't want either of them in the Democratic Party. Everybody was saying, oh, let's let them in the party. No, let's not. Because Adam Kinzinger voted against the Voting Rights Act. Okay? And by the way, before Donald Trump turned completely off the rails, Liz Cheney voted in lockstep with him 93% of the time. The Democratic Party needs to be moving in the direction of the AOCs and the Jasmine Crockett's. And this is what the Democratic Party needs to understand. And this is what the David Jollies and the Joe Walshes of the world need to understand. There are things that are not anybody's business. Everybody in this country needs to understand that it's nobody's business who I choose to marry as an LGBTQ person, who I choose to sleep with. Okay? They need to understand that drag queens have existed since the 1300s. Okay? They are an entertainment factor. They are not a danger to your children. Okay? They have a right to do what they do. There needs to be no legislation banning any of that. Okay? Transgender people just want to live. This nonsense over sports is ludicrous. Now, the NCAA, under Charlie Baker, who was my former Republican governor in Massachusetts, has banned transgender people from competing. There are now less than 10 people competing on that basis. This is a non-issue that's becoming a point of discrimination against the transgender people in this country. They have a right to exist. They have a right to live under the same freedoms of the Constitution that everyone else does. What they choose to do with their bodies is not your business. It's nobody's business. It is not part of public policy. It's not your business. They should be allowed to compete in sports. There is no scientific evidence that they have any advantage over cisgendered people. Yet in California, what they have done to make Donald Trump happy is this. We had a transgender 16-year-old who won in 2 competitions. And the solution, so that they could keep their funding, which Donald Trump threatened to take away, was they elevated the losers to a winning position. So she tied in both cases. It's ridiculous. It's beyond the pale, okay? It's beyond the pale. Based on no scientific evidence that she had any physical advantage, we are just going to simply make sure everyone is happy in America. We now have Democratic idiots like Ruben Gallego, a man I will not support again. I wrote postcards for him, talking about the dangers to maybe his daughters who aren't even competing in sports. Nobody has been injured competing with a transgender female. There has not been anybody that is proven to be scientifically or otherwise at a great advantage. They have a right to live. They have a right to their health care. Transgender care is health care. I know I have a transgender daughter. I live in Massachusetts. It's a non-issue here. The party that claims to be protecting women by victimizing transgender people is the party that took away a woman's right to choose. And now there are still women bleeding out in parking lots. There's a brain dead woman being kept alive, carrying a fetus that is non-viable in the state of Georgia because of their draconian abortion laws. They are not interested in protecting women. They are interested in controlling women. Immigrants. There are 350 million people in the United States. There are 11 million undocumented people in the United States out of that 350 million. A small, tiny percentage. Yes, the criminals should be sent back to where they came from, not to a gulag, okay? Or a concentration camp. And people in this country who are school age should never be deported or held. The people in this country who have broken no laws, aside from the fact that they're not documented, should be given a pathway to citizenship, because immigrants have made this country great. And we'll talk about that in a whole separate video. But this video is to tell everybody that we, the people, must make sure the Democratic Party does not go back to the centrist area or does not become the GOP's playground, because they're too lazy to start a new party. If that's what you want, is to play in all of this arena and deal with people's rights and victimize people because that's your ideology, then you need to find a new party or start a new party. The Democratic Party needs to continue to move forward, and that also includes making sure that Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid is protected. We need to protect the most vulnerable populations in this country, because they aren't there by choice. They are there because of income inequality. The rich need to pay their fair share, and the poor need to be taken care of. And that's the direction we need to move in. We are not going to sit back and become the saviors for the Conservative Party. I will talk to you all later.